This is also on negative externality, all right? It's still a policy issue. So the different thing for this compared to previous questions is that I don't think we focus on tradable permits or a lot like this. So this will be the focus for this question. And also a bit different is that they raise two policies for us already, right? So most of the time they ask you to discuss the effectiveness of one policy, or do you think this is the best policy? And then you go and come up with your own alternatives and compare, right? So here they are very focused. We are talking about tradable permits. This is one. And then also they are talking about taxes, which is the second one. And they have also mentioned for us, and you are just supposed to compare both. Okay, so don't have to give a third policy. You don't have to come up with other policies. I'll just stick to these two. All right, so we are focused a lot on this because this one we weren't really touching on previously. Then reducing pollution. Okay, so this you have to link to negative externality of production because of consumption was okay, right? So you have to link to that yourself. They didn't tell you is externality or like negative externalities. Okay, so this one you link yourself, huh? So explain the policies, talk about pros and cons, you can compare, then you do the same for the next policy. Okay, so this will be the structure for this question. So I just go on. So this part, okay, so this part we talk about pollution, we talk about coming from consumption. So we give two examples. Okay, so one from the plastic packaging. The other one, if you look at the palm oil production, then this is from Indonesia. All right. Also, like why we got all the serious case like every other year. There's no definition here because there's no specific terms. Actually have taxes and permits, but we are going to look at them individually below in the explanation paragraph. Okay, so the intro will just cover the common theme or the common concept, which is pollution, right? The whole thing is about solving pollution. So this is my main concept. So then after this, I'll just end off the intro. So we talk about tradable permits first. I got lost. I got one surprise every lesson. So tradable permits are like your COEs, COEs, right? For the cars. So in order to start producing, you need to have the license first. Okay, so they may specify the pollution, but they want to be abstract. So they'll tell you, okay, you can only produce how much, right? So you produce this amount, this is the license to produce that amount. So if you want to produce, you have to buy the license. If you want to produce more, you get more license. If you have excess, right? Sometimes we overbuy, we don't need so much, you can also sell. So we call this a secondary market. So market is exchange, right? You buy from the government, everyone buys from government at first. This is the primary market. Then when the firms sell amongst themselves, this is the secondary market. So this is explaining the tradable permits, but we haven't talked about how it solves the pollution problem yet. So that one we do it in the next paragraph. Okay, so this part is just telling you the whole concept of tradable permits.
Yeah, I thought they don't specify the quantity of the good they can produce, but like just how much pollution you can.
But assume you are here.
It's just like it's saying that like firms are entitled to like maybe like 100 permits, but if you want more, you have to pay more.
This one like also depends, but you need to pay first. Sometimes it's like they ask you to pay first. So okay, buy the permits, then you can produce. Or they will give you an amount each, then you can trade amount yourself.
So it's either they make you pay for a certain amount, or they just give you that amount.
So it depends on government to government.
But can you buy more from the government, or you can buy from the firm?
If the government exhausted all, then you have to trade amount yourself.
Oh, mine not completely. Mine not completely.
Yeah, it's a mystery. I don't know. Ever since Zoom came about, many little windows.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's a dumb thing. So it is P not and PS. PS.
Yeah, I'll explain now. So this one we talk about pollution. So it's not fixed. Like is it from consumption side or production side? Okay. So why we choose to draw this? Because it is a bit easier. So when you draw this way, right, you're showing is coming from the production side. Your MSC, there is a divergence from NPC. And then when you shift the taxes, right, you shift because of taxes, you will just need to insert the arrow. Okay, easier to draw, right? Saves time. If you want to draw the benefit curve divergence, also can, but you will need to still need to shift your FTC curve because that is the effect of the text. Okay, so I want to like not draw so many lines, save some seconds. That's why I draw it like that. Okay, so it's not the only way lah. You can draw this or like the consumption way also can. Okay, so this is done, we will explain the diagram.
So this is by doing it this by the tradable permits. It's just cause we are reducing quantity. That's how we are moving to the content.
You reduce your output because of higher cost. Okay, so at this point, there are a few ways to continue. Okay, there are a few ways to continue. So one way is what we always do. We will talk about the cons of this, and then we talk about the pros and cons of taxes, and then after you compare. All right, that can be one way. Okay, the other way, is that we can also explain taxes next. And then for your pros and cons, we are going to talk about yes, taxes are better, and then no, let's say tradable permits are better. Okay, so I list out. So let's say version 1. So you have already finished so far, right? Let's say version 1, what you can do is that you will talk about the cons of tradable permits. Then after that, we explain taxes, pros and cons, and then after that, we evaluate and compare. Okay, so that is what we usually do, right? That's one way. If you don't want to do it this way, because here they explicitly ask you to compare which is better, then what you can do next is that you can explain the taxes. Then after that, we'll compare both. So compare both. Let's say one is better, then after that you go on to say that the other is better. Then you finish, you give your evaluation. Okay, so both are okay lah. Alright, depending on your preference. If you recall anything, if you cannot remember or if you prefer a certain way, then just choose the way you prefer. Alright, as long as you hit the points, essentially the structure is different, but the points are the
evaluate.
So for ours here, we'll do V1. No particular reason, just that when you do V1 here, when you come to this stage, right, it will be easier to do. Okay, if you do V2 can, but you see that here we already compare. When you do the EV, right, you'll be a bit like repeating the same point. Okay, so we go with V1. So I'm going to talk about the cons of tradable permits, or rather pros and cons. Okay, we have pros and cons. Okay, let's talk about pros first. Tradable,
so what do you do on
what's it there? What do you do? Floor, quality, and subsidy.
like let's say?
Okay, so first benefit or first pro is that you cannot go beyond a certain point. It limits your pollution to a certain level. Okay, so it's good lah, right? If you can actually set the limit, so you will never go beyond that. Okay, so this one done, we go on to the cons.
But it's the same as like taxes. Like, because taxes are like, even as long as you're willing to pay the taxes, you can just pollute.
Yeah, always similar, but taxes won't have the limit.
Yeah, but like, isn't the con the same?
Yeah, it will be that sense here. Okay, I go on. So here, this point we are saying that it's like I quite like a buffet mindset lah. Okay, because you already pay for it, you just eat as much as possible, right? So I already pay, I might as well maximize the use. Then why should I spend more money? You can do something else, and then not going to use up. Okay, so you develop that mindset. So you are going to still have pollution. You will cap it, but you always have the amount of pollution. You will not reduce, right? Because you already make people pay to pollute, so they will pollute. Okay, so that can be your cons. And then let's say, okay, the other thing. So for this, we say that the next problem is the government's limitation. So you don't have enough information. You don't have like all the data and so on. So if you want to decide where's your QS, if you want to decide how much pollution, you need a lot of accurate data, right? Sometimes a bit hard. Okay, so because of that, you need to constantly adjust your limit, your quota. You need to also look at the pricing of the permits as well. Okay, so there could be many reasons. So then after that, the gateway loss arises, you are still facing market failure despite the policy taking place. Okay, so that is the gist of this. So this is in terms of limitation, and then this one also in terms of limitation of the policy. Okay, so that one done already, then we can move on to taxes. Okay, so at least at the halfway point.
Do you talk about what if like the permits are set like too low? Like you overcorrect the externality.
So that means underconsumption, underproduction.
Yeah.
Only, I mean, it's a possibility, but
Oh, okay. But that one is like if your permits are too small, like the amount you give is too little, right? Then the deal with loss will be there. So you chose approach one.
Okay, so this one don't need to draw again because we have already drawn. Okay, so and then purposely and nicely just now and this one the same diagram. Okay, so we reference that, don't need to draw the thinking points.
You
Okay?
can say as in diagram one, you increase the.
You have that if you label diagram one. Okay, so higher cost pass on to consumers, and then MPC shifts left, MPC rises. Okay, again, four things. All right, it is like demand supply, just that we change the name of the curves. Okay, demand supply we have four steps, right? So you have talked about the trigger, so the imposed taxes, and then the explanation, higher cost of production. Then you have to pass on to consumers. The effect, third step, is that MPC curve shifts left. No, MPC rises. That's step 3. Step 4, diagram change, the curve shifts leftwards. Okay, so 4 steps, right? And you watch, if you want, you can watch the recording again, then you can keep listening. Okay, so 4 steps. So this one done, diagram is drawn, no need to draw. Diagram not, so we are not drawing again, so we don't have to explain the diagram again. Okay, so we go straight talk about the pros and cons. All right. Okay, so
this is also possible to internalize the cost.
okay, so this part, this one's similar to above. All right, so internalize the cost. Then also you can say that they will earn the tax revenue from the policy. Okay, so again, if you find that you want to separate out, right, we can also split the paragraph. So here we got 2 paragraphs. Okay, so if you do not want to, you're not going to explain too much, then we put together so that it doesn't look like one line. Okay, so this is the pro. Then we go on to the cons. We give 2 points as well. Okay. Okay, so this point, we try to make it a bit different from above so that you're not repeating the points. So this one is talking about your elasticity. Okay, so when you impose a tax, right, then you have to look at the elasticity or the PD because your supply curve shifting, then we match with the slope of your demand curve. Okay, so the demand curve here will be very steep, right? So that it reduces your consumption, but doesn't reduce fully to QS. Okay, so you will get some reduction, but not to that level. So your deadweight loss is still there. It doesn't solve the problem fully. So you still face market failure. Okay, so something that is different from above. So you don't keep repeating the same points.
We can draw graph again.
No. If you want, you can, because this one can draw 2 diagrams. Yeah, so one point is this. Second point, you can talk about equity worsening because you raise the prices. Alternatively, you can also talk about how taxes have to be equal to the external cost. Okay, so if it's not equal, then it will not solve the problem entirely. So it is due to government's imperfect information. Okay, so both points also can. All right.
Okay, sir, how do you say you're going to differentiate them?
What did I say? Check the different points so that it's not repeating.
But it's the same, right?
No. I mean, technically different. It just works very similar. So we try to find like different points.
Oh, because the criminal firm is also seek to equal the extent of NEC, right?
Yeah, but then not never mentioned much. So
also, you explain different.
That's good. It is like that. Yeah. Then just that there is no context here. Yeah, context of every context has like country, the here we don't have. But the points are the same. Yeah.
There's a lot of explanations there. Like, let's say I do a second method, right? So I talk about how both work. And then I say the pros are the same.
Okay, then the place you say like on one side taxes are better, on the other side.
Yeah, like I talk about their common points. So like for the pros of each, they both work the same. The tax is different because the pros that you can earn better and whereas for tradable profits you can't really it's better on this side. Because whereas like maybe the tradable permits then because tradable permits limit production to a certain quantity, it's the same mechanism. I mean the mechanism is different, it's the same outcome as the tax. Whereas for so I say in this case I think the tax is better. Whereas for however and the tax is also better because it forces firms or it gives firms an incentive to innovate, right?
Yeah. Oh, possibly. Okay. Okay, then we'll do this for easy now. Okay, we have come to the end of this question. Not the statement you are waiting for, but half there lah. Okay.
Wait, the cause of the tax, the one about the good being priced into nothing. That's the same. I mean, that also applies to tradable permits, right?
Yeah, but usually we won't use that point for tradable permits lah. So practice wise, nothing wrong with what. It's just that usually we don't. That's all.
Oh, it's more used for tax.
Yeah. Okay, so at this point again, from just now, we know that if you are looking at your evaluation, you need to come back to the question and look at it again. Okay, so you have to see what are we trying to answer here directly. So we are comparing between tradable and taxes, which one is more effective at reducing. Okay, so in real life, we use a variety. There is no one policy itself. So this question becomes a less clear cut. If you see majority of governments only using one, then you roughly can say that, oh, this is the better one, right? But no, they are always combining. Okay, then now it's up to you lah. Which one you feel or which one you think is better. Better can be in many ways, right? It can be that taxes could be easier to implement. It could be that tradable permits will limit the pollution so it doesn't go beyond and so on. So your basis could be different and you come at different conclusion and those are okay. All right, there's no right wrong answer here. Again, also because government cannot decide, right? So they're using both to give the best outcome. Okay, so we just look at this last paragraph for this question.
We don't give a wait, so just scrub it.
Yeah, think about one-sided yes, I support this. Is it you can that one is more encouraged. But if you don't have, then you see on the fence, right? You can give your reasons also lah.
So we should give a stand.
If you can, then that one is better.
But this is as if you don't give a stand.
This one if I don't have, then I'll just give it depends lor. So looking at your perspective lah, and then also I'll look at reality. They are using combination, so even governments cannot tell me which one seems better.
But both taxes and tradable permits reduce space to a certain level, right? So how is tradable permits more effective?
So we want to confirm that it is not going to be beyond the certain level. So taxes may not work, of course, but okay, I mean both may not work like that sense. At least I have a basic guarantee that it will not be beyond a certain level of pollution.
Because taxes also depends on the firm cost of production.
It looks at the PD, it looks at how well they respond to the taxes. Then that one also tradable permits will have. But tradable permits, the additional layer is that the last question for today, I hope it's very easy lah. Okay, I don't know. Okay, this one just a little short recap. Maybe you can finish in 10 minutes. Okay, see how well you remember. Okay, last question for today. Okay, so explain the concept of positive externalities of consumption. Right, this one just a recap. Okay, so if they come up with this one for exam, please do very well. We have done at least 5-6 times this year. At least. June holiday we did 1 or 2 times. Then before that we did 1 or 2 times. Then today also 1 time. Okay, then if you guys keep watching the recording, then a lot of time. Okay, so we have one term. You just need to explain this one term. Okay, so we define and then we go on from there. Fine. So if you guys recall, we will start with defining the term first, right? So we've done this in the first line. Next part, you can give your example. Okay, example here not referring to like education, healthcare like this, right? But I give like specific example like why or how the external benefit comes about. Okay, so we'll start from there, then you link to the theory and all that. Okay, example, market, let's say, okay, I use healthcare, the market for healthcare consumption. So this example we gave is about vaccines, all right? Then you can change to education, what up to you. So when you talk about the third parties, they have to be humans. Okay, so you cannot talk about third parties as fishes, plants, the air, environment cannot, so it must be people. So people, let's say I will not get the disease from, let's say, my friends, right, who already vaccinated. Okay, so that is the idea here. All right, and link to the theory, and then we'll draw the diagram as well. Okay, hope this comes out for the exam, then you can finish in like 10 minutes. Yeah, this one very standard. Just keep doing the same thing. Yeah, explain a bit. So diagram-wise, David loss will point towards your allocative efficient quantity. So just point towards QS. Okay. Then there is no arrow because there's no shift. All right. And just comparing against the benchmark. And then last part for labels. If you want, you can use market for good. If not, you can just put market for vaccine, market for healthcare. That's the example that we were using above. Then for this explanation portion, right, the key thing is you need to talk about the divergence between the two curves. Okay, so I highlight this part. So you have a divergence between private benefit and social benefit. Okay, so I mentioned many times. All right, so that causes the external benefit causes the split. You need to mention the split between the two curves. Then we went on to define private benefit, social benefit. After that, diagram here. Okay, so once this is done, one last paragraph will finish for the data. Last paragraph, we explain the diagram, then finish. So first thing, we explain what Q0, QS are. So the ingredients we have found here, you say what they represent, actual consumption, socially optimal consumption. How do you get those, right? Which curves will give you those quantities, and then what it represents. Okay, why is it there? So one maximizes consumer satisfaction, one maximizes social welfare. Okay, then once you compare, you get QS is higher, so there is under consumption. Then you have a day rate loss, and then there is market failure. Okay, this one you've done many times, but just need to just a recap. Quite likely they will test this, one of the popular question choices.